Yeah, probably the only way to do it
is to do it in situ.
Is to try and put it in. Once again, guys, best laid plans. The vlog that I thought I'd be making is not the vlog I am making. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Bicycle Network's Peaks Challenge. It's my experience of it from disaster to disaster. Guys, let's do it. Peaks Challenge. So what is Peaks Challenge? Well, it's arguably Australia's premier FONDO. The numbers stack up. It's about 230 Ks, 3,500 metres of climbing. As we currently sit here right now, it is the only alpine mass participation event. Welcome to a FONDO vlog. How long's it been since we've done a FONDO vlog? Back to where it all started. So Peaks Challenge takes place in Falls Creek in the Victorian High Country, which for me is about 6.5 hours southwest. The only worrying part was crossing the Victorian border. Guys, could you just keep your shit together for a couple of days? That's all I'm asking. I got down, stayed in Mount Beauty the first night on the Friday night, got down, did the ride up to Wonga Gap. So I've ridden up this climb twice in my life. The first time I did 3 peaks, or the abbreviated version. And one of the guys I was riding with, Laugh, got a flat halfway up. And so we all stopped. FONDO advice, don't stop for your mates if they get a flat. That's their fault. Don't say that, Chris. That means you'll get one tomorrow. Saturday, let's get into it. So the day before the race is on Sunday. So I just went out for a 2-hour bike ride. Wonga Gap, both sides, beautiful, wonderful. Zone 2 marvellousness with a few openers, all very, very normal. At this point, I should say that so Lee and Dylan were both doing the event.
G'day viewers, it's been a long time between drinks, but we're back on the road and we're heading to Falls Creek today for 3 peaks tomorrow. So Brittany and I are all packed up, we got both our bikes.
It's essentially quite a self-sufficient thing, so it's like you're kind of left to your own devices. So, welcome to Falls Creek. Welcome to a little bike check. So I'm going to head up to the village. One of the best things about doing these sort of events normally is like the atmosphere of it. Everyone has said this to me when I've told them I'm doing this. Spend some time up in Falls Creek the day before, hang out in the village, because it's just bike people being around bikes. So let's go do it. I think I'm going to do some sort of check on the okay, so we just tested tyres. What's next?
So after that we're checking the brakes. So
okay,
right.
That I'm running rim brakes or disc brake? Do you have an opinion on either?
On either a rim or a disc. Yeah. I personally don't have an opinion as long as they stop your tyre.
Right,
and
okay.
Safe for you going down falls.
Look, the irony of taking the piss out of the bike check is not lost on me. I am aware of that. But it also does sort of kind of bring into point how pointless that was. Anyway, so look, the rest of the afternoon, what do you reckon?
I reckon this is good.
Yeah.
This is what bike riding should be.
Stopping fueling strategy. Talk me through it here.
Yeah, so stopping strategy is take no prisoners. So I reckon pretty much you, Lee, myself, possibly Marco, whoever else is quick and wanting to ride hard. I think we stop, we fuel up, we do what we need to do, and then we keep rolling again.
Anything else you want to say? Anything about life? Particularly?
No, I'm excited.
Yeah.
This is the most I've looked forward to a bike ride actually in a long time. Yeah, me too. I mean, I was keen for Sun Tour. This is like, not Sun Tour, sorry, TDU. This is like just below that. Like, I'm properly excited for this.
Oh, everyone's just up and about. I think it's been 12 months since we've been here. This was the last event that we kind of did last year. So just to get back into it. So a couple of hundred more than last year. So I think the kind of time off the bike or time away from the events, everyone's really keen to get back into it, and the weather's a bonus. So
tell you what, kids, I'm pretty excited about this. I'm pretty excited. We're back FONDOing. How good. All right, so tomorrow is 230 odd K 3,500 meters of climbing, I think that's right. But it's a really unique event, right? In the sense that it's 3 peaks, so you've got 3 big climbs, but also the descent. So we start here tomorrow morning at Falls Creek. It's going to be like 3 degrees, and you descend for 20 minutes, an alpine descent to start. So what we've decided to do is Brittany's gone to an op shop, and we've picked up $30 worth of just horrendous winter gear. So this will be my beanie. I've got some, here we go. Got some of these, which I'm just going to run as basically arm warmers, and she's going to be down the bottom, and I'm just going to chuck them to her. All right. I may also run this puffer jacket, get down to the bottom, zip it off, take it off, give it to her.
Nutrition, I'm pretty dialed. So I've got 11 gels, 2 of which are caffeine. I've got 3 scoops of Performance in both my bottles. I've got some jellies, I've got some jelly beans, and I've got an additional 6 scoops of mix to fill up with water.
Apart from that, guys, I'm super pumped. I'm really looking forward to it. There's a great vibe about this place. We will see you in the morning. Loading up, so it's all perfect. Thank you. Alright guys, we are at the start line of Peaks, 1900
As we
people
always
at the
say at
moment.
Peaks, eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty.
Come up and check in.
Please also be aware.
Pedal has come off.
So as I come around this corner and my pedal is attached to my foot, look, I can't remember it being particularly dangerous, it coming off. I just remember the shock and there being a spot for me to pull in and me pulling in and not believing what I was seeing.
My pedal has... 20 minutes later, after just sitting there on the side of the road with literally no idea what to do, a man in a moto came along next to me and offered to help, and we worked out a solution where if I stood next to the bike, he could manually screw my pedal in to the actual crank.
Probably going to be almost impossible. I'll give it a try. I do have a spanner. Tell me, how do they come on?
Yeah, probably the only way to do it
Is to do it in situ.
is to try and put it in. Oh, leaving off. After a little bit of trial and error, we managed to do it. We managed to actually remove the cleat from the shoe, and then he just sort of finger tightened it on to the crank, which kind of allowed me to then really ride.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it probably won't stay, but we'll have to do.
There's a
So I've put the pedal back on, but it's... I'm not doing 1800 watts at the moment. It's de-threading again. Oh. Hey Brett. Yeah, stoked on life after that. So just to fill you in, it's coming down the descent, pedaling, and I go to pedal out of one of the corners and my foot detaches from the crank, and I have like my foot and my pedal just detached at like 80 k's an hour. So I'm just gonna sit here and sulk about it. All those people riding past going like, hey Chris, how you doing? Just like, shit. Sorry. It's just like, you do make a bit of a commitment to come down to these sort of things, especially for me. Not especially for me, like everyone does it, but like, yeah. So Dylan and Lee are still out on course, obviously. It's one of the reasons I'm really so disappointed. I'm back at the ACOM. Boys are still out on course. So hopefully we'll get some feedback from Dylan and Lee about their rides.
Got to Toowoomba, saw a few guys went away. I just basically sat in for the first 5 minutes and like it was pretty comfortable, so hit the front, and then me and another boy, Chris, basically swapped off on the front of what was the peloton, you could say. Got to the bottom of the WTF corner and everyone rode their own race from there. So yeah, I was happy enough to get 5th over the line, which was 58 minutes faster than last year and 2 places higher. But yeah, it was a pretty fun day. Like, couldn't really ask for better weather. Really good company, a lot of guys, you know, should be happy with their efforts today. Even though it's not a race, it's still something, you know, people talk to you about and people aim for. So it was, yeah, really, really fun day.
The amount of people that came up to me, well, not came up to me, but like, oh, Chris, oh, is there anything I can do? One dude offered to take his pedal off his bike and give it to me. It was crazy. So thank you to everyone who said that. Sorry, I was a bit shitty when anyone was kind of saying, how am I doing? I don't know. I'm going to have to come back, aren't I? So I still haven't done this. Just going to have to come back. I'll get to the bottom of what happens with this pedal because it's so weird. This should have not have happened. I know you guys will probably say something like, should have got his bike, you know, look after your bike. And that's a good point for this kind of thing. But last week, had new cables, new chain, new cassette, new tyres. Like, I fully prepped the bike, fully aware that, you know, that's an important part of doing this. But stuff can still happen, obviously. So, and it's, I've been thinking a lot about this and on this sooky drive home, and just how close you are all the time to really, well, wasting your time, aren't you? And like, you've got this checkbox of things to go through to try and ensure that you get the best out of yourself and have the best experience. At the end of the day, sometimes your number's up a bit, isn't it? So, but I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. So I'm home. It's a day of 3 peaks and I'm home. A little bit to tell you about this. Super weird. So my power numbers were ridiculous from the start. So I averaged 2,000 watts. Sorry, I averaged 800 watts for the ride, maxing out at 2,500 watts, which makes sense after the incident because I only finger tightened it back on. But the weird thing was my numbers were crazy from the beginning. It lends me to think that it was loose from the beginning. But I didn't notice that. Like, and I rode 2Ks to the start line. I would have thought I would have noticed my pedal being loose to that extent from the start. Rode it the day before, never touched it, was perfectly fine. The other thing, I checked the right-hand pedal just then, and it was really loose. I haven't taken these pedals off since they were built, like 18 months ago. It's just so weird that it goes from like one day fine to the next day, like, forget about it. Because like, I'm coming home, I'm driving, I'm thinking about like, what can I tell you guys about, like, you know, check your gear, you know, because, you know, you're only a small incident away from like ruining your day. But like, this is not something you check. This is weird. I've done some research, and again, I'd love your comments on this, but I've done some research and there is a precedent. There's precedence for the left pedal coming undone if it was already very loose. There is precedence for that. Now, reports on that, you very much see people say that they felt it happening. So, you know, they were pedaling, they felt it wobbling, like, oh, it's really wobbly. Oh, the next minute they know it's out. Now, I didn't have that experience. I went from whacking it out of corners, descending third wheel in front of 2,000 people, loving life, to my pedals on my foot and I'm having a big sook. It was clearly loose. Now, the reason it was then undoing as I continued on down was simply because I couldn't get it tight enough and it was undoing as I pedaled. It has caused an issue with those pedals. I cannot get them to calibrate anymore. I've contacted Asioma about that, whether there is some sort of reset or something I need to do on them, but as it stands, like the pedal works, I can crank the pedal in no problem, the thread's fine, but the actual power meter element doesn't work, okay? So we've hit an issue there. Did I mention I was feeling really good? Probably would have won, probably. In fact, would have won, let's be honest.
I came like 10th up this in a really good field. Shout to Jesse Feetenby, who won that day. Oh, that's a day I dropped Dre Vine. Let's just concentrate on that fact.